Welcome, everyone, to another edition of our Stay Smart newsletter and podcast, brought to you by Viciniti Corporate Housing, where we try to keep you up to date on what we see happening in the industry. And wow, there's a big one here. Sonder announced their bankruptcy, going out of business, unfolding their partnership with Marriott. Before we dive too much into that, though, I kind of want to recognize there are over 1,000 employees at Sonder that just lost their jobs. According to SEC filing at the beginning of the year, they had 1,400 employees. So at least over 1,000 employees lost their job. And I want to address that. Most of them, almost all of them, probably had nothing to do with the issues that drove Sonder to bankruptcy. So I kind of want to address that. And obviously all the people that have been displaced, reservations canceled, all of those people, I want to address that before we kind of talk about the subject. People, there's been some terrible stories about people being locked out of their rooms and not being able to, having to move, and just a lot of terrible stories. And like I said, all those employees that lost their jobs. So wanted to address that first, but obviously big news, national news, Sonder went bankrupt. Not super surprising. I think we've kind of seen on the writing on the wall, cash flow issues. Their stock value was down almost 99% from 3 years ago when they had their initial public offering. So I think it was surprising just how fast it happened. And I think it was a little bit of surprise from, would have thought Marriott would have done a little bit more due diligence around this. This article that we have kind of shows in some of the bankruptcy filing what the last days looked like, and unfortunately it looks like it got pretty ugly. I think it's going to continue to get ugly as this rolls out into courts. So yeah, I don't think it was super surprising that it happened. It's just the way that Marriott let this happen. I think we kind of have an interesting experience with Marriott. About 12 years ago, we had actually been a franchise partner with Marriott under the Marriott Executive Stay partnership. So I think they had experience doing furnished apartments again, and then they sold that brand to Oakwood. So Marriott's done this before, so I was a little bit surprised that maybe they didn't do the due diligence that they needed to do with this. So that's what we see happening in the news right now with Sonder going bankrupt. It is terrible, all those people that lost their jobs. The second article that we have is about if you do have a reservation that was canceled, here's some steps to maybe get your money back. Look into that. So it's a great article from the Points guy. And then finally, there's an article about Silver Door. They announced their partnership with IHG Hotel, their extended stay brand. You'll be able to book directly on the Silver Door platform. So some really good information there. But overall, the big news is about Sonder. Not surprising, just surprising that it happened so quickly. That's what I see transitioning this week. Take care, everyone.